Hi, today at Manchester Theatres, I am here with Andrea Sadler, who is currently touring with the Smeds and The Smoos across the country. It is coming to the Lowry from the 24th of October, and we are very, very excited, particularly with all the Julia Donaldson, Axel Scheffler things that are going on there at the moment. But Andrea is no stranger to doing from page to stage shows and children's books, having been in shows such as Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Fabulous Flutterbys, Five Little Monkeys, Cinder Mouse, Aladdin. Of course, Andrea, you have even done your own adaptation of Dogs Don't Do Ballet?
Don't do ballet, that's right. Yeah.
That's the one. You've even been on CBBC's Basil Brush, Boom Boom Uncle Derek. But today we are here to talk all about the Smeds and the Smoos. So thank you for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
So for anyone who might get all of because there's so many gorgeous stories from Julia and Axel. So tell us all about this one, the Smeds and the Smoos. What is it about?
So the Smeds and the Smoos are aliens that live on a far off planet in space. The Smeds are red, the Smoos are blue, and they have nothing to do with each other. So they're not allowed to mix at all. So I play Grandmother Smoo and I have a grandson, Bill. And Bill decides that he'd like to explore a bit. And he meets one of the Smeds called Janet, who is red. And they really like each other and they want to play. And they don't understand why everyone keeps saying, you must never, ever mix with the other group. So they end up running away and they go on a space adventure. And myself and Grandfather Smed get in the same rocket. We have to actually spend some time together. And we go off and look for them for over a year. Wow. And we visit all these amazing planets as we go and meet some very weird and wonderful aliens. And overall, the message of the show is inclusivity. It's lovely. At the end, they kind of realize there's no reason for them not to play together. And it's a lovely, happy ending.
It's just gorgeous. They're just such gorgeous books. And obviously, you've said that you play Grandmother Smoo, and we don't like the Smeds. Why do we think she's so grumpy? Why do we think?
Well, I think actually we discover as the show goes on that maybe once upon a time she wanted to play with Grandfather Smed when they were young, and they were told they weren't allowed to. So I think there is a bit of what might have been as well between the two of them, which is quite sweet.
Well, that's a brilliant, like you've said, obviously there's the messages of inclusivity and acceptance and things like that. But that's real. This is what's so brilliant about these books. It's really clever because it shows that it's learned behavior, isn't it? It's something that's come from the past. It's learned and it goes on. And do you kind of get feedback from parents about how these messages are impacting their children?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what we get at the end is when there is a reconciliation between the two groups, there is always this ripple of, oh, from the audience. And they're so happy that they finally put aside all these silly differences. And we have lots of interviews with like Vox Pops after the shows. And loads of people are saying it's such a great message for kids. And it's done in such a way that it doesn't feel like a message. It just feels like, they're just part of the story. It's lovely.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost a little bit Romeo and Juliet with aliens, isn't it? Kind of.
It's definitely Romeo and Juliet in space. Yeah. I never thought I'd be appearing in Romeo and Juliet in space, but here we go.
There you go. There you go. Well, good stories are good stories, aren't they? Absolutely. Right. So you've said, obviously, we've got Smeds and Smoos who are blue and red. But your costume, you're not like painted blue or red or anything like that. So how do we tell you apart costume wise? What are we looking at?
Well, I wear blue, but I have the Smoos have tails. So I have a jacket with a massive tail coming out of the back of it. I have a blue bowler hat with antennae coming up like this. And I have the green glasses that you can see in the book as well. And the Smeds have sort of red and orange clothes. They have green hair. But also there's, I think what tall stories do really well is that they really focus on the physicality of creatures that are not necessarily human and recognizable. So the Smoos move very differently to the way the Smeds do. So we spend a lot of time in rehearsals, like working on how to make them very distinct.
That's really, really clever because, like you say, it's again showing that something is different, yet at the same time, it's not anything of value, as in we're all the same inside. It's just an outward thing that's different.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's so clever. And I've seen the trailer for this, and my mind was blown by the aliens, the puppets. Talk to me about those.
Yeah, they're incredible. So we have a really wide variety. So we have the Vums with very long arms, and they're just great. They come on and do a dance. We have, my favorite is the Lurgle with the very long nose, that likes the flowers, and that's a two-person puppet. We have a very small one-person snail, a sort of alien snail who's lovely and very funny. And then we have the Grimbles, who look a bit like the Gruffalo, and they're very funny too. And we have a dance with them. So yeah, they all look very different, which I think is what makes the show so rich. Like visually, there's so much to take in. It's really gorgeous.
And I think with the like puppetry with obviously shows for younger children as well, it's such a visual thing. But as performers, I mean, you must be constantly learning new skills to perform to children's audiences like this. And just the different, when you're doing different characters, different voices, like you've said, different physicalities, it's real challenging work, I imagine.
And I think that's what keeps it really fresh. Yeah. Because it is a challenge, and it's also physically a challenge. Like particularly the Smoos, they just jump all the time. We just jump on and off things, and it's like an aerobic workout 2 or 3 times a day. And then yes, you're dealing with different puppets, and I've been a puppeteer for 15 years, but every time you come to a new puppet, it has its own language, and you need to discover that. And I think with children's audiences, young people, they do not compromise. If they're not interested, they will show you. What's great about this show is that with the visuals and the beautiful music and the puppets and the songs, they're completely engaged all the way through. And at the end, we normally have kids dancing in the aisles. Everyone's clapping. It feels like a party. It's delightful.
I know. Well, the music, you've mentioned the music there, and because it isn't like dumbed down kind of nursery rhyme type music. We're talking, it's really sophisticated, and it's giving children some respect, really, isn't it? It's full on proper music.
Yeah, I don't think there's any need to dumb down for kids. No. I think that, the more that you give them, the more they engage. They're just young. They're not, they have big brains.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite song?
I really like the song that Grandma and Granddad sing near the end, which is quite a sort of it's sort of looking back on when they were kids, and it's really lovely. It's lyrically it's really lovely, and it's just a really nice acting moment as well.
Oh, well, I'm very excited to hear that one then. I'm going to be bringing my godson, who's 3 years old, so yes, he's going to love it. Tall Stories, you've said, obviously this is who's putting this show on, and they travel the world, obviously bringing these shows to life with all these different things. What is it like? They're quite inspirational, really, the way that it's all packed up and moved. And so what's it like working with Tall Stories?
It has been hands down one of the happiest jobs of my career. I think they are it's really well run. I think they really care about their performers. It's run in a very fun and very respectful way. And obviously, they're a well-oiled machine. They've been going for years. We've just taken the show to Singapore, which was an incredible experience. We got back from there a couple of weeks ago. And, we sort of going through customs with a massive puppet head. And it's just brilliant.
So when you're performing it all around the world, do you perform in English, or do you like translate? How?
Yeah, we perform in English, and for somewhere like Singapore, because English is so widely spoken, it's it's not an issue. So yeah, I think they tend to tour to places where it can be done in English.
And I guess as well, like you say, if you're taking it to places like that where English is such the spoken language is something that's required, teaching that to children, it's another brilliant educational tool, really, isn't it, to teach them the language.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and I think with songs as well, because that's a great way to teach language. The repetition of songs, the rhythm. So yeah, it's all designed to just really draw in those young people and to give them a brilliant time.
every detail is so well thought out, isn't it? And I think because these kind of shows are so flawless when you watch them, they're so beautiful, you make it look easy, and it isn't. There's so much that goes into it, but that's the sign of a true performer, when you make it look easy and anyone thinks, I could do that, and you're like, no, you couldn't.
Yeah, and I think the level of detail that tall stories demand of us it really pays off. Yeah. So there are tiny moments in the show that actually took 2 days of full-time rehearsal to just nail it.
Yeah,
it's worth it. It's worth it.
And of course, you are bringing this show to the Lowry at the time when there is the Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler gallery and interactive experience going on. So I've been to it. It's brilliant. So
to see it.
Yeah, honestly, it's so good. You'll love it, particularly doing the show. So it's just the perfect time, and of course near half term as well. So it's the perfect time to bring everybody along and really have that kind of full immersive experience, isn't it? So do you think you'll all be going, like you said, do you think you'll all be going along as a cast to maybe?
We will definitely go along as a cast. Yeah, that'll be great. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So we've heard all about these different elements in the show. Is there kind of anything that you're thinking, do you know what? We haven't talked about that little bit in the show and it's my favourite bit. Is there anything that's there?
Well, I would just say I haven't mentioned the slime monster. Oh, there is a slime monster who is pretty spectacular. So I think definitely watch out for that one.
Do we get slimed?
You don't get slimed. But if you sit in the front 6 rows, something may happen to you.
Oh, okay. So there is that level of, well, you've said they're up and dancing at the end as well. We may have something in the first 6 rows. So there's little elements of interactivity, is there?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of talking to the audience, them responding. It's very two-way. It's great. It's a real collaboration. It
sounds perfect for young children to come along and watch and experience theatre as well. What a way to get them into theatre, right?
Exactly. It's this is creating our theatre audiences of the future. It's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Andrea, thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it. And we cannot wait. Grandmother Smoo from the Smeds and the Smoos coming along to the Lowry from the 24th of October. Come along, enjoy the exhibition while you're there as well, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.